Happiness is one of the deepest desires of every human being. We chase it in success, in wealth, in relationships, in comfort, yet often it remains just out of reach. That's because happiness is not something we can buy or demand. It is something we must cultivate within ourselves. Life, by its nature, is a mixture of ease and difficulty, light and darkness, laughter and tears. Waiting for a perfect moment to be happy is like waiting for the ocean to stop moving. It will never happen. Happiness begins the moment we decide to look beyond what's missing and appreciate what's already there. When you wake up each morning, you have a choice to dwell on what's wrong or to notice what's right. You can focus on what's lost, or you can be grateful for what remains. This shift in mindset may seem small, but it changes everything. Gratitude is not a denial of pain. It's the recognition that even in the midst of hardship, blessings still surround us. A beating heart, a roof over your head, the ability to think, to speak, to pray, these are gifts we often overlook, yet they are the foundation of real contentment. Too often, we allow our happiness to depend on circumstances we cannot control. We say, "I'll be happy when things get better," but what if they take time to improve? What if the situation doesn't change as quickly as you hoped? Will you postpone your happiness until the world bends to your expectations? Life is too precious for that. Happiness is not about waiting for storms to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain, to find calm in the middle of chaos, and to smile even when your heart feels heavy. There will be days when you feel weak, when your spirit trembles and your faith wavers. It's in those moments that you must remind yourself that you have overcome before, and you will overcome again. Every hardship you faced in the past was preparing you for this moment. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every difficulty had a purpose. It built your strength, deepened your wisdom, and shaped your soul. You cannot become resilient without resistance. Happiness does not mean the absence of pain, it means the presence of purpose. When you push yourself to be happy, you are not pretending that everything is perfect. You are saying, "I choose to find peace despite imperfection." It's an act of courage to smile when life tests you. It's an act of faith to believe that things will get better even when there's no sign of relief. That choice, repeated every day, transforms your heart. It makes you stronger, calmer, and more hopeful than before. Faith plays a powerful role in the pursuit of happiness. It reminds you that no pain is wasted, no tear unnoticed, and no struggle meaningless. The one who created you knows every hardship you carry and every battle you fight in silence. When you place your trust in that divine wisdom, you begin to see your challenges differently. What once felt like punishment becomes preparation. What once seemed like an ending becomes the start of a better chapter. When people hurt you or disappoint you, remember that happiness cannot depend on how others treat you. You cannot give anyone that much control over your emotions. Forgive where you can, release what burdens your heart, and choose to move forward. Holding onto bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting others to suffer. The moment you let go of anger, you make space for peace to return. Happiness grows in the soil of forgiveness and understanding. Even the smallest acts of gratitude can shift your entire day. Saying thank you when things are hard, smiling at a stranger, or reflecting on one blessing before you sleep. These moments train your heart to see the beauty in life's simplicity. When you practice gratitude daily, happiness becomes your natural state, not something you chase. It no longer depends on possessions or achievements, but flows from an inner sense of contentment. Every person you meet is carrying some form of struggle. Knowing this should inspire compassion rather than comparison. You never know who is fighting a silent battle while wearing a smile. Be kind not only to others but also to yourself. Allow yourself to rest, to heal, and to feel. Being happy doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means refusing to let it define you. Treat yourself with gentleness and give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. And finally, happiness is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when it feels easier and days when it feels far away. But each time you choose gratitude over complaint, faith over fear, and love over bitterness, you are pushing yourself closer to true happiness. It's not something the world gives you, it's something you build within your heart, one decision at a time, even when life is hard. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces that can transform pain into strength. It is easy to be grateful when life flows smoothly, when everything falls into place, and when success comes easily. But the real test of gratitude comes when life feels heavy, when nothing seems to work out, and when your heart aches in silence. In those moments, being thankful becomes an act of courage. It's not about ignoring your pain. It's about recognizing that within every trial, there's a hidden blessing waiting to be discovered. Gratitude turns hardship into an opportunity to grow rather than a reason to give up. When you learn to look at life through the lens of gratitude, your entire perspective begins to shift. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That simple change transforms suffering into learning and frustration into wisdom. Every difficulty carries a lesson, and gratitude allows you to see it. It helps you understand that the discomfort you feel is not punishment but preparation. Every challenge builds you, shapes you, and strengthens your heart for what's ahead. Gratitude also grounds you in the present moment. Too often, we dwell on what went wrong yesterday or worry about what might go wrong tomorrow. We forget that peace is found in the now, in the breath we take, in the light we see, in the simple fact that we are alive. When you stop chasing what's missing and start appreciating what's already in your hands, contentment begins to grow naturally. You realize that even with your struggles, you still have more than many could dream of. When life feels unfair, gratitude becomes your anchor. It reminds you that even though some doors have closed, others remain open. Perhaps the opportunity you lost was not meant for you, or perhaps it would have led you down a path of harm you couldn't foresee. Gratitude helps you trust that everything unfolds with wisdom, even when it doesn't make sense. It doesn't erase the pain, but it gives it purpose. Instead of drowning in disappointment, you begin to rise with faith, knowing that better things are written for you. In moments of despair, when tears blur your vision and your heart feels empty, try to count even one blessing. It could be the breath in your lungs, the food on your plate, the kindness of a friend, or the quiet strength that keeps you going despite the pain. Gratitude in hardship does not require perfection, it only asks for sincerity. It asks you to notice the small flickers of light even when the night feels endless. Those tiny moments of appreciation will slowly heal what feels broken inside. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you shift from a mindset of scarcity to abundance. Gratitude teaches you that happiness doesn't come from having everything. It comes from valuing what you already have. Many people spend their lives chasing more wealth, more recognition, more success, yet remain empty because they overlook the blessings they already hold. Gratitude fills that emptiness. It reminds you that you are already surrounded by reasons to smile even in difficulty. Gratitude also humbles you. It softens the heart and makes you more compassionate. When you recognize how much you've been blessed with, you naturally want to share kindness with others. You stop comparing your life to those who seem to have more and start feeling empathy for those who have less. Gratitude opens your eyes to the struggles of others and reminds you to be gentle, to help where you can, and to be thankful for what you once took for granted. There will be times when your blessings seem small compared to your burdens. In those moments, gratitude becomes a conscious choice rather than a natural feeling. You may not always feel thankful, but choosing to express gratitude even through tears can bring unexpected peace. It's in those choices that strength is born. You may whisper a quiet thank you while your heart aches, and in doing so, you invite healing and patience into your soul. Gratitude is not a denial of reality, it is a higher understanding of it. It acknowledges that pain exists, but refuses to let pain have the final word. When you practice gratitude, you stop asking for life to be easier and start asking for the strength to face it with grace. You realize that every challenge carries something valuable: endurance, empathy, wisdom, or growth. Gratitude turns what you endure into what you overcome. When gratitude becomes your daily practice, even hardships begin to feel lighter. You stop viewing them as obstacles and start seeing them as stepping stones towards something greater. You begin to understand that the weight you carry today is shaping a stronger version of you tomorrow. Gratitude becomes your guiding light, not because life is perfect, but because you have learned to see beauty in imperfection, hope in struggle, and peace in every storm. Faith is a source of comfort that carries the heart through the darkest nights and the toughest days. It is the gentle whisper that reminds you that you are never truly alone, even when the world turns its back. There are moments in life when people disappoint you, when friends walk away, and when your heart feels deserted. In those moments, faith becomes your companion, wrapping your soul in quiet assurance that the one who created you has never left your side. Faith fills the silence when no one else understands and strengthens you when your own strength begins to fade. When you hold on to faith, you begin to see that everything happens for a reason, even if that reason is hidden from you for now. There is wisdom behind every delay, mercy behind every hardship, and purpose behind every loss. Faith helps you accept that what seems like a setback might actually be a blessing in disguise. Sometimes, when a door closes, you are being redirected towards something far greater than what you had planned. Faith allows you to walk confidently even when you cannot see the full path ahead. In times of fear, faith is the anchor that keeps your heart from drifting away. When anxiety and worry begin to consume your thoughts, faith reminds you that nothing in this world happens without divine permission. Every hardship you face is already known to the one who controls all things. When you trust in that divine knowledge, your heart begins to rest. The storm outside may rage, but within you there is calm. Faith does not remove challenges, it transforms the way you face them. There are moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of life seems too much to carry. In those times, faith lifts you up, reminding you that strength is not only in the body, but in the soul that refuses to break. Faith whispers that the night cannot last forever, that dawn is coming, and that every tear shed in patience is seen and valued. It tells you that every pain you endure is known, every prayer you whisper is heard, and every effort you make is counted, even when no one else notices. Faith is not about denying your feelings or pretending everything is fine. It is about trusting that even when you feel lost, you are being guided. It allows you to cry without losing hope, to fall yet rise again, to feel pain but not despair. Faith reminds you that healing does not always come quickly, but it always comes in the right time. When you leave your burdens to the one who understands you best, your heart begins to feel lighter, not because the problem disappears, but because you no longer carry it alone. When faith lives in your heart, you begin to see life differently. You start to notice how every difficulty shapes you, how every disappointment teaches you patience, and how every delay refines your trust. Faith transforms pain into purpose and confusion into clarity. It gives meaning to moments that seem meaningless and turns struggles into steps towards something better. Through faith you learn that the same fire that burns can also purify, and the same storm that shakes you can also cleanse your soul. There will be times when faith feels weak, when doubts creep in, and when you question everything. That does not mean you have failed. It simply means you are human. Even the strongest hearts waver sometimes. What matters is that you return to faith each time you drift away. You remind yourself that your Creator is patient, that He understands your weakness, and that He never closes the door on those who seek Him sincerely. Each time you come back, your faith grows deeper and more resilient than before. Faith also teaches you compassion. When you trust that life unfolds according to divine wisdom, you stop judging others harshly for their struggles. You understand that everyone is fighting their own battles and that no one's journey is easy. Faith opens your heart to kindness because it reminds you that we are all sustained by mercy. The same compassion you hope to receive from your Creator becomes the compassion you extend to others, and in that your heart finds peace. In loneliness, faith fills the emptiness with connection. You may not have the company of people, but you have the presence of the one who knows you better than anyone else. When you speak to him in prayer, you find comfort that words cannot describe. You realize that the silence of the night is not empty, it is filled with divine listening. Faith turns solitude into serenity and makes you stronger in ways you never imagined. Faith is the quiet power that keeps you moving forward when everything around you tells you to stop. It doesn't promise a life free of struggle, but it promises that no struggle will be wasted. It teaches you to walk with hope when your vision is blurred and to trust the process even when the outcome is uncertain. Faith strengthens your heart not by changing your reality, but by changing the way you see it, with patience, with peace, and with the unshakable belief that everything has a purpose, even the hardest parts of life. Hardship is one of life's greatest teachers, even though it often arrives uninvited and unwelcome. Every human being experiences moments of pain, disappointment, and loss. Yet few realize how much strength is hidden within those moments. When you face difficulty, it might feel like the world is closing in on you, but in truth, hardship is carving new space within you, space for wisdom, compassion, and endurance. It is in the struggle that your true strength begins to reveal itself. The times that break you are often the very moments that build you from the inside out. Every test you go through carries a purpose, even if it's hard to see at first. Life's challenges are not random. They are designed to awaken parts of you that remain asleep during comfort. When you are tested, you begin to learn patience, humility, and faith in ways that ease could never teach you. Hardship pushes you beyond the limits you thought you had, forcing you to discover the hidden depths of your resilience. Without those moments of difficulty, you would never know the full power of your spirit. It's easy to be grateful when everything goes your way, but true growth happens when you remain steady even when nothing makes sense. Hardship strips away illusions. It shows you who you really are and what truly matters. The things you thought were essential may fall away, and what's left is the raw truth of your character. That is where real transformation begins. Hardship doesn't destroy you, it refines you, shaping you into someone more grounded, wise, and capable of enduring life with grace. There will be moments when you feel exhausted and ready to give up. You might wonder why you have to go through so much pain while others seem to have it easier. But if you look closely, you'll see that everyone is tested differently. Each person's burden is tailored to their capacity, and each trial is meant to teach a lesson unique to their journey. Hardship is not a punishment, it is a form of training. It prepares you for responsibilities, blessings, and wisdom that you might not yet be ready for. When you embrace difficulty instead of resenting it, you begin to see how it molds your inner strength. You realize that patience is not just waiting, but maintaining peace while you wait. You understand that hope is not a naive dream, but a quiet determination to keep moving, even when the road feels endless. Hardship teaches you to rely not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Faith, perseverance, and trust that something greater is guiding you through the chaos. Many people think strength means never breaking down, but real strength is found in the one who falls, cries, and still chooses to rise again. Each time you recover from disappointment, your soul becomes tougher and more resilient. Hardship sharpens your endurance like fire purifies gold. It burns away weakness and leaves behind the purest form of courage. Without pain, your growth would be shallow. Without struggle, your achievements would carry little meaning. Hardship gives depth to your life story. Through difficulty, you begin to appreciate the value of small victories. The moments that once felt ordinary become blessings you no longer take for granted. A simple smile, a calm day, or a night of peaceful sleep can feel like treasures after hardship. These are the lessons that ease alone could never teach. When you've been through darkness, even the smallest light becomes precious. Hardship trains your eyes to see beauty where others see none. It is also through hardship that compassion grows. When you have suffered, you become softer toward others who suffer. You understand their silence, their struggles, their tears. You no longer judge as quickly because you know how heavy unseen burdens can be. Your heart learns to listen instead of criticize, to comfort instead of condemn. Hardship humbles the soul, reminding you that every person you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. Sometimes hardship isolates you so that you can learn to depend less on the world and more on your inner strength and faith. It pulls away distractions and forces you to face yourself honestly. In that solitude, you meet the version of you that you never knew existed, the one who can survive, endure, and adapt. Hardship teaches you that peace doesn't come from a life without problems. It comes from the ability to stay calm and hopeful while problems surround you. Every hardship leaves behind a gift, a lesson, a strength, a story, or a new perspective. You may not notice it while you're in the middle of it, but with time you'll look back and see how far it has carried you. The same trial that once made you cry becomes the reason you can now encourage others. Hardship builds resilience not just for yourself, but for those around you, because your strength becomes a source of inspiration to anyone watching you persevere. Positivity is one of the greatest acts of courage a person can practice. It is easy to be cheerful when life is smooth and everything feels under control. But true positivity shines brightest when the world seems to fall apart around you. It is a conscious choice, a quiet rebellion against despair. Choosing to see hope when everything looks dark requires incredible strength. It means refusing to be defined by pain, refusing to let the weight of your problems crush the light within you. Positivity is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about believing that goodness still exists, even in the middle of chaos. When you decide to stay positive, you are not denying your struggles, you are taking control of how you respond to them. Life may give you storms, but you choose whether to drown or to learn how to swim. You choose whether to let bitterness consume you or to rise above it with grace. Every time you pick optimism over despair, you train your mind to focus on what can be done rather than what cannot. Positivity empowers you to act, to move, and to find solutions where others see only dead ends. It is a mindset that turns obstacles into opportunities. A positive outlook does not make life easier, but it makes you stronger. When you meet challenges with hope instead of fear, you begin to realize how much power you truly have over your emotions. You stop waiting for the world to make you happy and start creating happiness within yourself. You stop allowing negativity to take root in your heart and start nurturing peace, patience, and gratitude instead. The more you practice positivity, the more natural it becomes until it no longer feels like effort but a way of life. There will always be people who complain, criticize, and spread negativity. They will tell you that being positive is unrealistic or naive. But staying positive does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to focus on what can be built instead of what has been broken. It takes far more courage to remain calm and hopeful in a storm than to give in to fear and anger. Positivity is strength disguised as calmness. It is the silent voice that whispers, "Keep going," when everything around you says, "Give up." Sometimes positivity looks like a small smile in the middle of a bad day. Sometimes it looks like choosing not to argue, even when you could. It can be as simple as showing kindness to someone who doesn't deserve it, or as powerful as refusing to let a setback steal your peace. These small acts of positivity are not meaningless. They build emotional resilience, and remind you that your spirit is stronger than any hardship. Each positive response you choose adds light to your life, one spark at a time. When you carry positivity within you, it becomes contagious. Your energy starts to affect the people around you. A single kind word can lift someone's spirit. A genuine smile can bring comfort to a weary heart. In a world where negativity often spreads faster than hope, choosing positivity is a form of service. It's a way of healing not just yourself, but others too. You never know who might find strength from simply watching you remain calm and hopeful in difficult times. Positivity is also about the words you speak to yourself. The way you talk to your own heart matters. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you can't, that you're not enough, or that things will never improve, you start to believe it. But when you replace those thoughts with words of encouragement, I can try again, I will find a way, this too shall pass, your entire perspective changes. Your words have the power to either lift or destroy your spirit. Choose the ones that give you life. It's important to understand that positivity doesn't erase pain. You can be positive and still cry, still feel lost, still experience anger or disappointment. Being positive doesn't mean being emotionless. It means allowing yourself to feel, but not letting those feelings consume you. It's the balance between acknowledging your pain and refusing to be controlled by it. Positivity reminds you that emotions are temporary, that every dark night is followed by morning, and that nothing remains the same forever. Even in your hardest moments, positivity teaches you to look for lessons instead of losses. When something goes wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Every failure holds wisdom, every delay holds protection, and every challenge hides a lesson that strengthens your character. Positivity turns trials into teachers, pain into perspective, and failure into growth. It helps you understand that even your mistakes can serve a higher purpose if you choose to learn from them rather than regret them. When positivity becomes your habit, it changes how you move through the world. You stop reacting to every hardship with fear and start responding with faith. You begin to carry light even into the darkest places, not because your life is perfect, but because you have trained your heart to focus on what's still good. The more you practice positivity, the more peaceful you become, and the less power negativity has over you. It is in that quiet strength, that steady calmness, where true courage lies. Never giving up is one of the strongest declarations a person can make in the face of hardship. It means standing tall when the world expects you to fall, holding on when everything inside you wants to let go. Life will test you with pain, failure, rejection, and loss. But the moment you refuse to surrender, you begin to uncover the depth of your inner power. Perseverance is not about having endless strength. It is about having enough faith to take one more step, even when you feel like you have nothing left. That one extra step, that single breath of hope, often becomes the turning point that changes everything. When life feels unbearable, when your plans crumble and your heart breaks, it's easy to believe that giving up would be easier. But what you don't see in those moments is how close you might be to the break through you've been waiting for. Sometimes the greatest victories come right after the hardest trials. When you endure and keep pushing forward, you are not just surviving, you are building resilience, a quality that no comfort or ease can ever teach you. Every time you refuse to give up, you grow stronger, wiser, and more capable of facing whatever comes next. The decision not to give up is an act of faith. It means believing in something greater than your pain, trusting that your effort has meaning even when results are not visible yet. It is believing that the path you walk has purpose, even when you cannot see where it leads. When you keep moving despite exhaustion, when you keep believing despite disappointment, you are demonstrating a faith that can move mountains. That inner strength comes not from perfection, but from persistence, from showing up again and again, even when it hurts. There will be times when you fall, when your plans collapse, and you feel humiliated or defeated. In those moments, perseverance teaches you to rise, to rebuild, and to keep trying. Each time you fall and get up, you prove that failure is not the end but a stepping stone. Success is not defined by how many times you win, but by how many times you rise after losing. The courage to continue, to face another day, to try again after disappointment, that is what builds character and turns weakness into strength. The people who achieve greatness are not those who never struggled, they are those who never gave up. They cried, they failed, they doubted, but they kept going. Every great story of triumph is built on a foundation of perseverance. It is not the absence of pain that defines greatness, but the ability to push through it with purpose. Each moment of endurance adds to your story, shaping a legacy of strength that inspires others to do the same. Your persistence becomes proof that even ordinary people can do extraordinary things when they refuse to quit. Refusing to give up also means accepting that progress may be slow and that growth often happens quietly. Sometimes you'll work hard and see no immediate results. You'll plant seeds that take months or years to grow. But that doesn't mean your effort is wasted. Growth happens in silence beneath the surface, long before it becomes visible to others. When you keep going even when you see no change, you are developing patience, and patience is the bridge between effort and reward. Perseverance is not just about endurance, it's also about adaptability. It's about learning when to change direction without losing sight of your purpose. There will be times when the path you chose doesn't work out as planned, and you'll need to adjust. That is not failure, it is wisdom. Giving up means walking away completely, but perseverance allows you to pause, to rethink, and to move again with new strength. True endurance is flexible, it bends without breaking, it pauses without quitting. When you refuse to give up, you inspire those around you in ways you might never realize. Someone watching you might be finding the strength to continue their own battle because they see you fighting yours. Your resilience sends a message of hope that no matter how dark life becomes, the human spirit can endure. You become a source of light for others simply by continuing to move forward. Perseverance is not just a personal victory. It's a silent act of leadership that encourages others to hold on too. The journey of not giving up is not meant to be easy. There will be pain, loneliness, and moments of doubt. But within those moments lies transformation. Every hardship chisels away your fear and shapes your endurance. Every disappointment strengthens your determination. You start to realize that you can survive what once terrified you, and that realization becomes your freedom. Perseverance is how the impossible slowly becomes possible. One small act of effort after another, one choice of faith after fear. Never giving up is about more than success. It's about honoring the strength you were given. It's about standing firm in your purpose even when the road is long and uncertain. Each time you choose to keep going, you prove that your spirit is stronger than your circumstances. The storms may come, but they cannot destroy what refuses to surrender. The power to endure, to rise, to continue, that power lives within you, waiting to be awakened each time life challenges your resolve.